Hi guys, welcome to another video. And in this video I'm gonna talk about judgment. I am currently reading this book, The Judgment Detox by Gabby Bernstein. And I love Gabby Bernstein. She's fantastic. She's a fantastic coach and spiritual leader. And if you haven't checked her out yet, please do. What I want to tell you, I started reading the first couple of chapters, and I was basically thinking, well, I've already know this, I've read this before, and I'm not learning anything new. So I put it away. But something just kept itching and me thinking about. Sorry about that. I needed to keep reading it because there was something in there for me. I didn't buy it so I could put it in the closet and never read it again. So well, it was Easter this weekend, so I had time on my hands, and my husband and I agreed to have a screenless day. Sorry. So no screen means no phone, means no social media, means no scrolling and playing games and things like that. So yeah, reading is a good option then. And I love to read. I absolutely adore to read. I'm just not doing it not that much anymore. And that's basically because of the kids. I don't really have the time. But yeah, so I picked up the book and I started reading it again. And it made me think about how I judge, because we all judge. It's human nature. We all judge other people. We all judge things, and most of the time, when we stop wanting to judge, we judge our judgment, and that sounds a bit funny, but we judge the fact that we are judging. We label so. Sorry about that. We label it as wrong, as bad, and that's only a judgment of our judgment. So we are labeling it as something bad, and therefore not looking at it any further, not looking at why we judge, and not looking at how we can fix it. We are only going into a negative downward spiral by thinking we are bad when we judge, but we are actually judging ourselves that we judge. So it's yeah, an ongoing process, an ongoing circle of judgment. So basically, the thing I was judging, I'm judging a lot, was actually kind of funny because I lately am judging Gabby Bernstein a lot. And this has all to do with the fact that she had a baby. I have three beautiful children, and I love them to death. But the thing that, well, the thing that really bugs me about other moms and when they are breastfeeding, and I'm not against breastfeeding, don't get me wrong. Breastfeeding is the most natural thing, and it's basically the best thing you can do for your child. But I kind of resented other moms that had no issues with breastfeeding. And it's not literally that they don't have issues, it's just that I don't see them having issues. Like Gabby Bernstein posted, or at least in their stories on Instagram, she showed a lot of times pictures of her stash of milk in the freezer and how much she has and how much production she has and how great it's going. And that just bugged me. It really irritated me, and I started judging her on it. And not really a judgment as a thing from, oh, you have blah blah blah, but more like, well, I don't like you anymore because, well, basically she's doing something that I didn't. I had a lot of trouble breastfeeding my first child. So I quit then, and it turned out she had a tongue tie, a very, very narrow tongue tie. So she couldn't really suckle. And that hurt a lot. So I quit. And then I had my second child, and I thought everything was going great. He didn't have a tongue tie, and it didn't hurt. And then it started started hurting, and I quit again. And then with my third child, I had all these problems again, and I quit again. So all three the times, I had to stop at around 6 to 8 weeks. And a lot of people keep telling me, well, at least you did 6 to 8 weeks, and they got the most important milk, the colostrum, and well, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't make me feel better. And then seeing other moms that can breastfeed and they are successful at it and have the time and the energy to do it and to really invest it in breastfeeding, because it isn't easy. 90% of the time, I'll say 80% of the time, people really have trouble doing it. So, yeah, I kind of had resentment for those people, including Gabrielle Bernstein, because I follow her on Instagram, and you see those things, and yeah, it just kind of gave me judgment. And reading this book now, it's funny because I'm reading her book because I love all her stories and inspiration that she gives. So it's funny that I'm reading a judgment detox by someone that I am judging. And I'm reading about all these exercises you can do. And yeah, I wasn't really into it because, and then I read a chapter on why we have trouble releasing judgment, because it can feel like a safe place and we don't want to look at the why behind the judgment. And basically the why behind the judgment is because we have a wound, we have pain in that area, and that's why it's easier to judge others that trigger this pain than to actually face this pain and deal with it. And it resonated with me because I'm always looking for the why, and I'm an intuitive healer. I always help people heal, and I always ask the why questions, because why are you doing something? So it was now for me important to start asking those why questions. Starting asking myself why I'm doing this. What is this wound? And the first thing that came to mind as well, I wasn't able to breastfeed, so that's my wound. I feel guilty, and then I just started thinking, well, I don't think that's necessarily it. I probably could forgive myself for not being able to breastfeed. I think what bugs me the most and what really is my pain is that I didn't want to fight for it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to have a baby on me all the time for that, and not being able to give it with a bottle. I can tell my husband, well, you feed her this time, or you take it and I'll take a nap or whatever. And with breastfeeding, you can't do that. So, yeah, I kind of just didn't want to. And I think that's more the why than wasn't able to. And I think me not wanting to do it causes me more pain than not being able to do it, because at least then I would have wanted it and tried it and fought for it. And now I just gave up or quit because, yeah, it was for myself and not for them. And I think it's because I believe that breastfeeding is the best thing for your child, and it is the most healthy thing you can do for your child as a baby. I think I'm kind of a hypocrite in that part, for not being, not wanting to do that for my children. So figuring out that why, figuring out that wound was a big thing in this book, and the judgment. And she fantastically explains the EFT, emotional. Now I lost it. God, I always know it. I'm gonna look it up. Hold on. EFT, emotional freedom tapping. Thank you. Emotional freedom techniques. Emotional freedom techniques, and basically it's tapping. You have this from the Chinese acupuncture state of mind things. You have tapping. You have the meridians, and you can tap them. You have here and here and here and here and here and some more. And by tapping those and by saying certain things, she has a whole couple of scripts in her book. Those are great to follow. And by tapping those, you release the energy that is blocked, and you can release the blockage and feel better at actually straight away, and deal with it normally, and basically a lot of the times even getting rid of it completely. So I tried it. I did the freedom tapping with her script about judging others, and I used her and other moms as an example. I was judging them, and I did it, and it didn't take very long for the tapping to let the energy flows, and I started crying for it. That I was doing this, and that the emotion, could flow. And I started crying for the release because of the emotional release. And you have the negative part and the positive part, and the negative part, and I felt this release, and then you go on to the positive part, and I started crying again because I thought it was so beautiful. And my judgment basically is gone for other women that are breastfeeding, and I don't look at Gabrielle that way anymore. And then I continued reading about it, and I realized I needed to do the tapping for myself, for judgment for myself, because my face is very bright. So because I was judging myself for not wanting to breastfeed, so I did the tapping again for myself, and basically, it's gone. I don't have this judgment for this anymore. I don't judge myself anymore. I don't judge other people anymore. I dealt with a wound, and it's not completely gone. So there you have the next steps in her book about giving it up to a higher energy, the God, the universe, however you want to call it. Giving it up to them, surrendering to that higher power, and I'm doing this now, and it feels so much better. It feels really good. And then seeing the person that you're judging for the first time, that's the next step. So I'm currently reading that part, and I think it's really, really wonderful to deal in this way with judgment, because we do judge a lot, and really a lot. Seeing that we are doing that, and then looking at our own judgment without judgment, and hello, darling. Being able to look at judgment without judgment, and seeing that it's actually a pain, it's a wound that needs to be taken care of. If you have a cut on your arm, you're not just leave it like that. You have to take care of it so it can heal properly. And I'm all about healing, so this book really resonates with me, and I'm gonna continue reading it, and I really recommend it to everyone. If you're new to spiritual things, it's also good to read. She talks about prayer a lot. So if you're not into praying because you don't believe in God or anything, it doesn't really matter. because praying is just releasing it, letting things go. It's not really about asking an outer being for help. It's more letting go of what's bothering you, the blockage. You're letting go of the block, and yeah, that really helps. It really, really helps. So even if you're not really spiritual, or you don't believe in God or the universe, well, not the universe as a force, yeah, you can still really learn a lot of things from it. So yeah, really recommend The Judgment Detox by Gabrielle Bernstein. I love it. I love her. And I really hope that people will look at their judgment without judgment and start the healing process. And if you want some help with that, you can always send me a message, and I can see what we can do for each other. So if you like my videos, please check out the other videos I have on my channel. Like and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day.